Have you ever wondered what it is that a real estate agent even does? Well, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and I think the average person in the public thinks that we may show a house or two and then maybe just, I don't know, show up at closing and collect a paycheck. That is not how it works, and there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And so today I'm going to talk to you about what it's like when I, as an agent, am working with a seller. So generally, someone calls me and asks, hey, I would like for you to come talk to me about potentially listing my house. And they'll tell me their reasons, and we'll have a great conversation. And then I will set an appointment to go to the property and check out their house. So usually I go in, I take a lot of notes, I ask a lot of questions about the property, and I am getting a good idea of the condition, of any work that might need to be done. I'm asking questions about potential property problems that might come up, like maybe you have an electrical panel that, say, is a fire hazard and you didn't know it. So I'm looking for things that are just really good information to know, what should we price this property? What are the things that have been done to it? And by the way, when you do upgrades and updates, you don't get 100% return on your investment every time on everything. And actually on most of it, you don't. So just keep that in mind. I think people think that, oh, I redid this or that, and so I should take that amount of money and tack it on to what you're telling me it's worth. No, that's not how it works. We are going to have to look for the price based on what the market is telling us it's worth, and looking at houses that are in similar condition with similar upgrades and those kind of things. So there's a bit of a science, but it's not an exact science to it. But it does involve having some experience and some knowledge of just the market and how things work, and seeing it over and over again. So once we look at your house, check it all out, take notes, then we're going to go back to our computer and we're going to do some research on what do we think this price should be, where do we think it will sell, how long do we think it will take. And we're looking at all of that information to give you the best information that we can. It's not going to be necessarily 100% accurate. Doesn't work like that. It just depends on where that one buyer that wants your house is and where they are in the process. But we're going to give you the most information that we can to give you an idea of what we expect. Then, and that takes a lot of work. I mean, that's not just a 5-minute thing. That's really trying to get it priced accurately. Then the next thing that we're going to do is, if you want to list it, then there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be done. As a seller, you're going to have to fill out a lot of paperwork, but there's also a lot of paperwork that we have to do, that we have to get you to sign. And so we want to go over that information, make sure you understand how everything works, and kind of give you an idea of the process on that part. We have to schedule photography. We have to plan signs and lock boxes getting to the house when the time comes. We have to figure out a price. We have to have a start date. So there's a lot of things that have to happen. And then once we actually get it on the market, then it is our job to market that property for you. And the way that we do that is we are going to, have the best pictures that we can. We are going to give you advice on how to prepare your house for that. We are going to put it all over social media. We're going to do ads. There's all kinds of things that we do that I explain to you when we meet. And then we do our best to do our marketing as we go as well. We'll have some open houses. We're just going to do things that we can to make sure that we have every eye on your property and that no one is going to miss it who might be looking for it. Then as the whole process goes, eventually you get an offer on the house. We help you negotiate that offer. We're looking at what we've seen in the market lately and what we would expect, and how much do sellers typically come off the price. And we're looking at all of that information based on what is happening in the market at that time. We're going to walk you through that whole entire process. And then once you go under contract, then you're going to have inspections. We're going to give you information on and educate you on what should you expect during that process, and what are the things that you need to do and you don't need to do, and all of that information is going to happen. And at the same time, behind the scenes, we're talking to the title company. We're dealing with getting all the paperwork done on that end and communicating with them. We are negotiating those repairs. We may have a buyer that comes in and asks for certain things, and then we have to figure out, what are you going to do or not do to your property. And along the way, as a seller, you may get frustrated, you may get upset. Somebody just may push the wrong button and frustrate you, because moving is a stressful thing. And we're going to be there to talk you through that, hopefully calm you down, and help you realize what's really going to happen and what's really happening and what's important and what isn't, so that you can get to the finish line. And that's the goal. Is you're trying to move, you want to sell your house. Obviously, we want to do the best we can to get you the best price in the best amount of time that we can. But we're going to give you realistic goals and expectations so that you know what to expect. But behind the scenes, there's a whole lot that's happening. There's deadlines, there's timelines, there's things that need to happen in a timely manner. And so we are paying attention to all of those dates, all of those deadlines. We're making sure that nothing gets missed. We're making sure that all the paperwork is done correctly. We're doing our best to make sure that it's a smooth and easy transaction for you as a seller. Then once you're, getting closer to closing, then, we're thinking about things like getting your utilities turned off, and how do we do that? And honestly, there's times that people are trying to sell a house and buy another one at the same time, and there's a strategy that's involved in that to try to make it happen as seamlessly and smoothly as possible. So there's a whole lot that's happening behind the scenes that you may not even be aware of, but it is happening when you are trying to sell a house. And so that is the kind of thing that we're doing. Of course, along the way, there may be a lender involved, and we're having to communicate back and forth with a lender. There could be an appraisal. If there is a lender, there's going to be an appraiser that comes out. So we're going to have to deal with the appraisal and make sure that we're pricing it so that it will appraise. There's just all kinds of things that are happening behind the scenes, and we're doing our best to take absolute care of you and get you to the closing table. So if you have thought that, real estate agents just like post stuff on social media and then show up at closing and collect a paycheck, that is not what it is at all. As a matter of fact, our phones are ringing, our texts are going off early in the morning, late at night, on the weekends. We work a whole lot, but we're doing it because we love the people that we work for. We love helping people. And as lame as a lot of real estate agents think that it is, we love people and we love houses. We kind of joke about that. Like, that's the reason that everybody thinks they want to get into real estate, but that's not really what it is. It really is about that. It really is about the people, and it's about enjoying real estate and homes and helping people find their way home. So that's what a real estate agent does when they're working with a seller. Hope this helps. If you've enjoyed this, if it's given you some good information, like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.